I want to talk about retaliation pips and picking the right client. And at first glance, you may think, what do any of these things have to do with each other? But hang with me and you'll see where I'm going. So I'm going to say a couple words about a subject that often comes up on this channel and on my platform and in discovery calls: retaliation. I keep coming back to this topic because so many people still don't really understand what retaliation is actually. Well, let's say they don't understand what illegal retaliation actually is versus when it's just unfair retaliation. And since some of you are also entrepreneurs or wannabe, I'm going to tie this into why knowing your ideal client matters. Because trust me, all money ain't good money. I'm Anne Marie. I'm the founder of the AntiHR. I've spent over 25 years managing HR in corporate nonprofit America, and I'm also a licensed attorney. I don't give legal advice on this platform, but I do give you the straight truth about how HR really works, because HR is not your friend, and I need you to understand that if you want to protect yourself in the workplace. In my consulting practice, I teach employees how to speak up for themselves when they experience discrimination and other illegal treatment at work. And more importantly, I teach employees how to leverage those situations to request an exit with a severance payment. That means walking away with a check without ever having to file a lawsuit or hire an attorney or anything like that. That's the foundation of what I do. That's my niche. And before we dive in, make sure you like this video, comment constructively, and hit the notification bell so that you never miss a video when I drop one. So let's talk about retaliation. One of the biggest misconceptions I see is this: being put on a PIP does not automatically mean retaliation. For Black employees and other employees of color, yes, it is often quite suspicious, and sometimes it is in fact discriminatory, especially when it follows right after you've raised a concern about discrimination or other unfair treatment. But, wait for it, sometimes it really is about your performance. And while everyone likes to think that they are a stellar employee and that they are high performing, the reality is that some people actually are not. And in fact, some people are low performers or poor performers. And if that performance issue is documented by your employer and is valid, then that PIP is not retaliation. It's a management response. Not all retaliation is illegal. That's the real key. The EEOC will treat retaliation as a separate claim if it is tied to an employee raising a concern about something illegal. For example, you go to HR and you complain about discrimination based on race, gender, age, or another protected class or characteristic. And here's something a lot of people don't realize. It's helpful if you can prove that your employer knew when you came to them that you were raising a claim about discrimination or some other wrongdoing. That means it's helpful for you to be explicit in your complaint. So just coming in and saying, I should have been promoted instead of that other person, is not enough. You need to say why you believe that you should have been promoted over that other person and why you believe that their promotion was actually an act of bias or discrimination. It helps to actually use the words discrimination, racial bias, gender bias, age bias, or say something like, I was treated differently because of my race, my gender, or my ethnicity. I know it can feel uncomfortable to say it out loud, but you need to call the thing the thing. Vagueness is not on your side. It is not your friend in these situations, because it allows your employer to claim they didn't understand that you were raising a concern about discrimination. And if they can say that, then anything they did afterwards may not be seen as retaliation. So I'm giving you some free game here. Call the thing, and then document anything that happens afterwards. That's what will help you solidify your retaliation claim. Just claiming retaliation without that clarity and documentation is unlikely to help you if you are a person who wants to leverage that into an exit with a check. Preserve your future claims by carefully documenting and calling the thing. I have an anti-HR documentation journal on my website that you can use to do that. And trust me, employees know these distinctions. They use the knowledge to evaluate whether you present enough risk for them to pay you to go away. If they don't see exposure, they're not going to cut you a check just because you asked for it and just because you said it was retaliation or even discrimination. Your documentation has to be tight and everything has to tie up together. Now, let me tell you a quick story. I once had a discovery call with someone who didn't like my conclusion about their situation. They were claiming retaliation, and after the call, they actually sent me something generated by artificial intelligence to try to correct me and tell me that I was wrong. Now, here's the thing. I use AI in my own work all the time, but I'm also smart enough to know that AI gets it wrong quite often, and I spend a lot of time correcting things that AI sends to me because I have what we call subject matter expertise. AI learns from us, not the other way around. So the fact that someone would take what AI spit out and use it to try and check me told me everything I needed to know about that person and their personality. And here's where my entrepreneurial lesson ties in. This is exactly the type of red flag that tells me someone is not an ideal client. It's not just about the facts of their situation, it's about how they engage with me and whether our personalities align. And this brings me to a very important point in my own work. I don't even offer my engagements to most people who book a discovery call with me. In fact, I can often tell during the call if someone is not a good fit. Some people come to me convinced that everything happening to them is retaliation, when in fact, their employer may have a valid reason for treating them the way that they did. And here's the truth. If I can see that someone has a problematic personality that comes across during the discovery call, guess what? I'm not offering them an engagement and I'm not interested in having them as a client because that does not align with me. And here's the truth. If I can see that someone has a problematic personality that comes across during the discovery call, meaning the way they engage with me doesn't align with my own personality, I will not offer them an engagement and I will not take them as a client even if they ask me to. And let me be clear, I don't think I have a perfect personality. In fact, I know I don't. And because I know who I am and I show up the same way all the time, if someone cannot engage with me in a way that works during a short discovery call, then I already know we will not have a successful engagement. No matter how good the facts of their situation might be, even if I in fact could solve their problem and help them get the outcome they want, I still will not take them as a client. Now, let me also explain how I use my discovery calls. My intake form and my process make it very clear from the start, a discovery call is an assessment. I use those 20 minutes to assess the situation presented to me and determine whether I can be helpful. A lot of people book these calls thinking they're going to get all their answers and problems solved for free in 20 minutes, and that opportunity is just an opportunity to pick my brain. But really, that's not how it works, and I generally don't allow that to happen. It's not a brain-picking exercise. It's an assessment. So if someone wants my full expertise and services and knowledge, they got to pay for it because I know my value and my worth. And that's another important lesson for any entrepreneur. You have to know what your time and expertise are worth and never undervalue yourself. In some cases, I may offer the option of taking my online master course, or I might give someone some free advice. And when I say free advice, I mean something I could easily charge for, but I choose not to because I know the fit isn't right. I do that instead of taking them on as a client. Because like I always say, and like I said at the top of this video, all money ain't good money. And that's the bigger point. As an entrepreneur, you have to know yourself. You have to be honest about your own personality, your boundaries, and the type of people you work best with. If you don't know yourself and you don't know your worth, you'll end up saying yes to everyone. And that's how you end up burnt out, wasted energy, and compromising your mission. So while I'm always happy to have discovery calls, and yes, my discovery call calendar is open right now, that call is not just for potential clients to assess me. It's also for me to assess them. Discovery calls are how I identify who is truly an ideal client for anti-HR consulting and who is not. And that discernment saves me time, energy, and stress because just like in business, as I said before, all money ain't good money. These kinds of lessons is exactly the type of real life lessons I'll be breaking down in my upcoming Entrepreneurship 101 webinar series. Registration opens to the public on September 1st, and anyone can sign up and participate. Now, of course, if you're a member of the anti-HR community, you get even more value from this experience. Annual members get access to the full series for free. It's included in their membership, and monthly members get it 50% off. So while this series is open to everyone, being part of the community gives you an extra benefit. So if you want into this webinar series, make sure you register starting September 1st. And if you're already a member, check the community portal for your special access details. I'll drop the link in the description of this video. So whether you're navigating HR or building your own business, the principle is the same. Be strategic, be real with yourself, and stop expecting someone to tell you what you want to hear instead of what you need to know. If you found this video helpful, please like it, comment, but do so constructively, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you'll never miss another video that drops from me. As always, this is Anne Marie. This is the Anti-HR. Thank you for watching, and remember, HR is not your enemy, but they are definitely not your friend. But I am. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.